Good afternoon all of you. Myself Dr. Pooja from the School of Commerce and Management. Today we will continue with the new concept, that is performance appraisal. The term performance appraisal has two aspects itself. First is performance, second is appraisal. Performance means how an individual is doing his job, and appraisal means an evaluation of such job. Thus, performance evaluation is a systematic and a periodic process in which we try to evaluate the work done by an employee, and it is also the process of communicating the result to the employee. It means in performance appraisal, overall performance of an individual employee is assessed and the results are communicated to the employee. He is telling by the result that he is doing well, he needs some improvement, and what are the key areas of the person's strength, what are the key areas of their weakness. So all these things are communicated to the person with the help of performance appraisal. According to the Edwin B. Filippo, performance appraisal is a process of systematic, periodic, and so far as humanly possible an important rating of individual excellence in the matters pertaining to his present job and to his potentials for a better job. It means in performance appraisal we try to analyze what an individual is doing in his present job and is it competent enough to perform the future job responsibilities. The concept of performance appraisal has certain features. It is based on certain features. The features are explained with the help of the definition that performance appraisal is a systematic process of evaluation. It means in performance appraisal we try to appraise or evaluate the performance of employees with a systematic process. First some standards are set, then actual work is done, then performance is compared with the standard, and if there is any deviation, then this deviation are trying to recover or remove. Next, it is a periodic assessment. It means as far as an organization come into existence, we need to appraise the performance of the employees. When an organization start doing its work, from time to time we need an evaluation. Thus, it is a periodic process. Third, it is related with the human aspects. Means in performance appraisal we have to appraise the performance of the human beings, whether they are in managerial position or in non-managerial position. Next, performance appraisal objective is to communicate the performance of the employees to them. It means whenever appraisal is done, its main objective is to inform the employees, to tell them whether they are doing well, to tell them whether they required any training, to tell them whether these are their area of lacking, these are the area where they can do their best. All these things are communicated to the employees with the help of appraisal. While we are doing appraisal, we should keep certain facts in mind. These facts are: first, appraisal should be in the written form. Whenever appraisal is done, it should be recorded in a written format. We should maintain a record of the performance that is appraised. Next, performance appraisal should be done at least once in a year. There should not be too much gap to appraise the performance. Performance should be evaluated from time to time, at least minimum once in a year. Next appraisal should be shared with the employees. Whenever appraisal is done, what is the performance of an individual employee, what is the result that are recorded by the performance appraisal supervisor, the result should be communicated to the employees. Next employee should have an opportunity to respond. Means if they are having any doubts regarding their performance, if they feel that their performance is not exactly measured, so they should come for a query. There should be a query session for them. They can ask why their performance is assessed below the level, why they are assessed not well. They have a right to ask their queries. Next they can appeal the result of the performance appraisal. Means if they are not satisfied the result, they feel that the person who has appraised their performance, he has done some biasness, they can play a checklist, they can make a review, they can demand for a review of the performance. Next come, manager should have adequate opportunity to observe the employees. Whenever appraisal is done, manager should be very honest in his appraisal. He should measure each and every individual performance. He should rank the performance free from biasness. Next come, equivocal notes on the performance should be kept during the entire evaluation. It means there should be brief description of each and every fact. No aspect of performance should be remain untouched. Whenever appraisal is done, the performance, each and every area of the performance should be touched with the appraisal person. Next come, the person who is carrying out the evaluation work, he should be trained enough. He should have experience to measure the performance. He should not be fresher, as if he is fresher he can make biased result, and this will impact the motivation level of an employee. Next come, performance appraisal should always focus on the behavior and result rather than the personality traits and characteristics of individual. It means that performance should be evaluated on the basis of the actual result that are done by an employee, not on the basis of his personality traits, not on the basis of how much charming his personality is. What he has actually done, his performance should be appraised on that basis. These are the key factors that we should keep in mind whenever an employee's performance is appraised. Next, why should we done an appraisal? An appraisal is done regarding to achievement of these goals. First, we have to set some goals whenever we want to appraise the performance. By taking these goals as a benchmark, we have to measure the performance. From time to time, every individual wants that his performance should be appraised. If he is doing well, his performance should be appreciated. He should go for the higher positions. His performance should be compared with what are the desired results. And if he is doing well, he should be appreciated. And if there is lack in his performance, he should be communicated about that lack, so that he can try to overcome these lacks. Next come, recognition of the performance. With the help of performance appraisal, the person who are doing best, we can recognize and find out the key performers. We can call them star performers, those who are achieving their objective very well. So these should be recognized with the help of performance appraisal system. Next come, guide progress. Performance evaluation programs act as a guidelines. They provide us some standards. Employees are communicated about these standards. They have to work on that standards, and after completing the work, their work is compared with that standards. Identify the problems. When we compare the actual result with the desired results, there may be some deviation found. Deviation means the differences between the actual performance and the desired performance. When we compare the actual performance with the desired performance, we can find positive deviation when performance is more than the expected performance, and we can also find the negative deviation when performance is below the standards. Therefore, to identify where exactly problem arise, it should be done with the help of time to time evaluation of the performance. Next come, improve performance. When we find out deviation and when we find that the actual performance is below the standards, then we should carry out some development programs. We should introduce training, we should introduce development program, we should monitor them, we should guide them, we should properly communicate the standards to them. If required, try to motivate them so that they can achieve their standard well in advance. Next come, discuss career advancement. With the help of performance appraisal, the person who is doing well is identified easily, and if he is doing his work very well, he is appreciated. He can go for the promotion, he can go for the higher jobs, and all this will bring career advancement in his career. So all these things are done with the help of time to time evaluation of the performance of the employees. Next comes the content of the performance appraisal. when we are conducting the appraisal, when we are conducting the evaluation of an employee's performance, we should consider the regularity of the attendance. Means if an individual employee is regular in his work, he is punctual, he is regular, then definitely his performance will be higher as per the person whose absenteeism ratio is very high. Next come ability to work individually or in a group. Whenever we measure performance, we should consider the factor whether an individual can work in a group or his performance is higher when he work alone. All these factors should be keep in mind. Next come leadership skills. Leadership skills determine whether the person needs some kind of leader that can lead them, that can communicate them, that can check them, or whether he has a person of that can work with the help of their self-guiding tools. So all these things are done in the performance appraisal. Next come the technical skills. With the help of appraisal, we can know the individual has what kind of knowledge he has, what kind of skills he has. If he is his nature of job is such that he requires some technical skills, and if he is lacking in this skill, we have to introduce these skills to them. We have to make arrangement for the training program so that he can learn these skills. Next, ability to grasp new things. When we appraise the performance, we identify the person who is doing well. It means the person who is doing well, he has excellent intelligence level, and the person who is lacking behind, it means he has certain restriction in learning. So we can understand the person of high learners, slow learners, those who are doing their performance very well, and those who are not able to cope up with the predetermined standards. We can identify these. Then the area of interest. With the help of appraisal, we can find out the area of individual interest, the person who is doing well in a particular area, and the same person is lacking in another area. It means that the area where he is doing well is the area of his interest. He can do well in this area, so he should be more emphasis should be given to such area, and the area where he is lacking, he should be also improved with the help of various training and development programs. Next, it helps to bring the attitude. It means it helps to bring them when performance is appraised, they are recognized, they are given their performance is recognized, and they are go for a higher positions. It makes them feel comfort, it makes them feel motivated, it's give them a self recognitions and self respect to them. Next come job knowledge. From when time to time the performance is appraised to check out whether the person that is appointed for a particular job, if he has knowledge to complete the task of that job, if he is doing the role, able to fulfill the roles and responsibilities of that job. Next come if judgmental skill. From the appraisal, it is judged that how much work he is doing, is he is doing any worthful work, or if he is not able to perform the predetermined standards. Next come area of improvement. When appraisal is done, when we found the key area where the person is lacking, these areas are find out with the help of deviation or differences. These differences we can measure when we compare the exact or actual performance with the desired standards. Next come past achievement. With the help of performance appraisal, we keep a record of the individual achievement. We can see in previously what an individual can do, what are his key area of specialization, where they are most suited and they can give their best to the organization. Honesty and sincerity. From time to time, appraisal of the performance give also honesty and sincerity in the work. When individual know that after some time their performance is evaluated, their result is declared, and their key areas are pointed out, so he work with the more honesty and more integrations. Innovativeness. When performance is appraised and we are seeking that some individual is finding lack between the actual result and the desired result, then he tried to remove out these lacks. He tried to create something new, how he can improve his negative points, how he can doing well, and how he can cope up with the others. Next, cost and time consciousness. when the performance is appraised, it means from time to time we have to make an evaluation of the employee, so that he can become aware whether he is doing right or whether he is doing wrong. If he is doing wrong and his performance is continue not checked by anyone, then it will increase the cost and wastage of time and also resources of an organization. Therefore, the performance should be evaluated from time to time. Next, communication. The major and main goal of performance appraisal is to communicate the result out to the employees, so that they can know whether they are doing well or whether they need any improvement, or where they can and how they can improve the area where they are lacking. It means performance appraisal is a tool to communicate the strength and weakness of the employees. This appraisal system told them what are their strengths, what are their weakness, where they have to work more hard to improve their performance. Next come principle of performance appraisal. Whenever appraisal is done, it should be based on certain principles. These principles are the single employees is rated by 2 raters. It means whenever an individual employee is rated, his performance is measured. To remove the biasness from the appraisal system, he should be rated by the 2 raters, so that we can compare the evaluation of both the raters. Second, continuous and performance observation is essential to make effective performance. It means appraisal should be based on the continuous basis, not from so many gaps should be there. We have no idea about what is going on the organization, what are the standards, what are the desired goals. To measure that desired goals are achieved or not, how an individual is performing, what are the areas of his development, all these things can be communicated with the help of continuous appraisal of the performance. Then the rating should be done by the immediate supervisor, because immediate supervisor know who is doing well and the person who is not doing well. He has an interaction with the person, so that the ranking should be done by the person who has a close link with the employees. Next come a separate department may be created for the effective performance appraisal. As in each and every department there are certain goals, there are certain works they have to done. So the work of appraisal should be done by a separate department. We may create an HR department, and a person that are expert in their field, they can come and call for the performance appraisal. Next come rating is conveyed to the employees. Whenever their performance is appraised, the result should be communicated to the employees. Whenever individual is going to complete any task, he should be told that he is doing well, he is doing not well, what he should do to improve his performance. All these things should be communicated from time to time. Plus points of individual should be recognized, and minus points should not be highlighted too much. As we know that each and every individual have some positive personality traits as well as some negative personality traits. We should always emphasize on the strong the personality traits who have positive, means we have always give focus on the strengthen the positive sides of the employees, and we should try to overcome the negative aspects of an employees. For example, if an employee is doing very well, his performance is up to the mark, but he is short tempered, so we should try to minimize these drawbacks. We should always highlight it that he is short tempered, he is not doing well, he is doing well enough, but we should try to minimize his nature from time to time with the help of an expert's opinion. Next come the management should create confidence in the minds of employees. Whenever performance is appraised, there is a lack of fear. Employees feel fear that their performance come into glance. If they are not doing well, they will be removed out from the organization. Such fear should be overcome to resist them for the appraisal. They should be motivated that if they are doing well, their performance is recognized, then they should be go for the higher position, and if they are their key areas where they are lacking, they can also removed with the help of various training program. All these things be clearly communicated to the employees so that they can't resist and a fair and real appraisal can be done. Next comes standard for each job should be determined. It means whenever performance is appraised, we have to set some standard. Whenever actual result is measured with the desired result, we should have some set of standards that we have to achieve that goal. And after completion of the work, we have to compare the exact work with the desired goals. So the standard should be set at the very beginning of the performance appraisal. And therefore the record of the performance, there should be separate printed form for each job according to the nature of job. For the managerial personnel, there should be a separate form of appraisal. For non-managerial work personnel, there should be separate appraisal form, and a record of both are kept separately in an organization. Next comes the process of performance appraisal. When we talk about how to evaluate, how to measure the actual work that is done by an employee, it follow a particular process. The process has following steps. First step is setting performance standard. When we want to evaluate the performance of an employee, first we have to set some standards on which the performance of an individual employee is measured. These standards act as a benchmark. Next, communicating standards. After the setting of these standards, it should be communicated to the person who has to perform the actual work. They should know what they have to achieve. It should be very clearly communicated to them. Next, measuring actual performance. When standards are set, when they are communicated to the employees, then next come the done of the actual work performance. When actual work is done, which should be measured on the periodically basis. From time to time, the actual work should be measured, and report should be maintained, record should be maintained. Next come comparing performance. It means we have to compare the actual performance with the standards that we set in the very first phase. In this phase, when we compare the actual standard with the desired standard, we try to find out if there is some gap in the sense of if actual performance is higher than the desired performance, it may be equal to the desired performance, and it may be less than the desired performance. Discussing the result. So what are the exactly results? If the actual performance is higher, then it means we are doing very well. If it is equal to the desired, it means we are neither lacking nor we are upgrading. But if it is below the desired standard, it means we need improvement, we need training and development. Next, taking corrective standards. After these results are measured, evaluated, then we have to take the corrective action. If an individual employee is lacking, why, we have to find out the reason. We have to try to minimize these reasons, and we have to come and have a pace with the actual standard that are set in the previous phase. Next come what are the purpose and need of performance appraisal. Why we conduct performance appraisal? First, to review the performance of employees. When we are not conducting any appraisal, it means we don't have any check who is doing well, who is doing not well, what is going on. To keep a record of all these things, we should conduct performance appraisal. Next, to judge the gap between the actual and desired performance. If we have no performance appraisal system, we can't find out what we have decided, what is our goal, and how we are achieving this goal. Is we are very near to the goal, is we are very lacking behind the goal. So all these things are done with the help of performance appraisal. Next, to help the management in exercising organization control. When we compare the exact or actual performance with the desired goals, then we find out some deviation, and for the achievement of the organization goal, we try to minimize this deviation. If they are negative deviation, we try to minimize them, and if they are positive deviation, we try to maximize them. Next, diagnose and training development needs of the the actual performance is below the standards, we try to find out the what are the reason behind it. We try to minimize these reason, and we go for the improvements area. We set the parameters for the improvement through the help of various training programs and various development courses. Next, the performance that result of the performance appraisal also help in the various HR decision, like the promotion decision, like the transfer decision, the person who was doing well, the person whose performance is higher than expected, it means they are doing very well, they should go for the higher position, and the person who is not doing well, it means he will go for the demotions, he will go for the training and development program, he will go for the more motivation. So all these things are get clear with the help of time to time appraisal of the performance. Next come provide clarity of the expectation and responsibility of the functions. With the help of performance appraisal, when begin with the performance appraisal process, we set some standards. It means everybody knows that what are his expectation while performing a work and what are his responsibility, where, when, how they have to come their work. All these things should be get very clear to them. Next come to judge the effectiveness of other human resource function. With the help of performance appraisal, we can also judge how well the other functions in an organization work. It means when we recruit an employee, we think that we recruit the right person for the right job at the right place, but when we find out his exact performance, how well he is doing, only then we can say that we recruit the right person. If he is not doing well, it means we have not select the right type of employees. So it will also act as a benchmark for judging the other human resource function. Next, to reduce the grievances of the employees. With the help of performance appraisal, employees get a review of their performance. They will know whether they are doing well, they will know the key area of their improvement, they will know where they are lacking. So there should be no disputes in the minds. The person who is doing well, he go for the higher position. It acts as a motivation factor to them. They have no any type of dispute in their mind ki he is doing well, so he gets promoted, and I am lacking, so I need some improvement. So all these things are clear to them with the help of performance appraisal. Next, it strengthens the relationship and communication between the supervisor and subordinates, management and employees. When we appraise the performance, we have to make a close relationship between the supervisor and the subordinate. We already discussed the performance should be evaluated by the immediate supervisor. It means the immediate supervisor has close contact with the person who is doing the job. As for the person who is not in his close contact, he can't evaluate right. So performance appraisal system also minimize the gap between the employment and management also. We have already discussed that performance appraisal system has so many advantages to the organization, but there are some negative aspects of the appraisal. This is self-esteem of employees or management may be damaged. When performance is evaluated on the certain basis, on the regular intervals, an employee get feared that if he is not doing well, he should be go for demotion, he should go for the layout, he should go for the retrenchment, he should go for the transfer. All this kind of fears, by keeping these fears in his mind, his self-esteem become low, and they have developed some kind of fear in their mind. Second, to appraise the performance of evaluation of the employees, for conducting the appraisal, we need a large amount of time. We have to spend large amount on the appraisal. We have to appoint the expert who can appraise the performance. The expert has to give time to evaluate the performance in each and every employees. Third, a relationship between the junior and senior may be spoiled forever. It means sometime when the person is given the task to appraise the performance, he has certain biasness, he has certain close relationship with some employees, he can rank higher to his performance, and by keeping this fact keep in mind, the other employees get demotivated, so their relationship always get damaged for the permanently. Second, biasness leading to lower performance. When the individual is saying that he is doing well, still his performance is not recognized well, so he feel dismotivation for them, and this biasness increased in the lower performance in the mind of the employees. It has not a good impact that the person who is not doing well, he is get promotion, and the person who is doing well, he is still on the same position. So all these things result in the lower level of performance. It brings result into the low level of motivation to the employees. Next come huge monetary expenses. As we know that performance appraisal is a long and complicated process. It cannot be done by a single person. We have to appoint experts who can appraise the performance. We have to make record of them. So it's a very time taking and very monetary expensive process also. While we appraise the performance, there are certain errors. These errors can be halo effect, means when an expert, when a supervisor appraise the performance of the employees, there may be halo effect. Halo effect means when an individual has an impact of an individual's, we can say the first impression of an individual, and the impression has some positive impact on the other person, so he keep that factor in his mind and appraise the performance on the basis of his positive factor. Next come horn effect. Horn effect means some negative incident, when the negative aspects of employees are rated by the performance. Next come the central tendency. Central tendency means when we appraise the performance on the basis of some average criteria. Next come the similar to me. When someone appraise the performance on the basis of that criteria, that this person looks like me, he is similar to me, he is close relation with me, so he can appraise his performance on the basis of biasness. Next come contrast. When the person make a comparison between two person, he has a tendency to make a comparison of two person, but no single person can be same with the other person. So all these things create some errors in the evaluation of performance. Next comes strict rating. Sometimes the evaluator is very strict while he is praising the performance. He is not liberal and he is not even moderate. He has some harsh nature. He is not satisfied with the standards. His standards are very high. So all this result in also errors in the performance appraisal. Next come first impression errors. As told earlier, some persons have very strong positive first impression, but there may be negative first impression also. So his overall performance can't be rated on the basis of his first impression. Next comes stereotyping. Stereotyping means some tendency to evaluate the performance on the same standards. So this kind of errors are all done with while we appraise the performance of any individual. Whenever the performance of individual is appraised, we should keep these factors in mind, and we should try to remove all these errors so that the true and actual evaluation of performance can be done. To appraise the performance, there are various methods. We can adopt any methods out of them. There are traditional methods and there are modern methods. Traditional methods are those methods which are based on the general knowledge, general personality traits, and modern methods are those methods which are based on the real work standards, actual work done. So in traditional method, we have ranking method, pair comparison, grading method, checklist method, critical incident method, graphing rating methods, essay method, field review method, and confidential report method. While we talk about the modern method, we have MBO, that is management by objective, we have BARS, behavior anchored rating scale, we have 360-degree appraisal, and we have human resource accounting method. We will learn all these methods one by one. First is ranking method. In ranking method, the evaluator rank the performance. He has certain rank. For example, he can rank the good performer to the first, and he can rank the worst to the last rank. Means he have to give rank to the good performers, and the person who is not doing well, he have to also rank them. It can be from first to last. Next, paired comparison method. In paired comparison method, the evaluator compare the performance of two individual employees. He make a comparison between the two, and he try to evaluate both the points of the comparison, which areas are their positive strength area and which are their negative strength area. Next term, grading method. In grading methods, the evaluator give some grade to the performance of the individual employee. He has certain grades, so with the help of these grades he can evaluate the performance. These grades may be good, very good, excellent, poor, below the average. Such kind of grades are already well defined, and performance is appraised on the basis of these grades. Next come checklist method. Under checklist method, there are some list is maintained. On the basis of these list, performance is checked out. Some certain kind of question series are made. We can take the example that an employee is honest in his dealing, yes or no, whether he is coming on the time, yes or no. With the help of these statements, with the help of these checklists, the performance of an individual employee can be evaluated. Next come graphing rating scale method. Here the rating of the individual performance is based on the graphic method. It is represented by somehow graph, and the graph has some scales like performance is satisfied, not satisfied, highly satisfied, strongly agree, disagree. Such kind of ratings is done. Next come essay method. This is a traditional and very simple kind of method. In this method, there is an immediate superior that observe the performance of the employees, and on the basis of his evaluation, he make a summary, he make an essay, and he make a description of the performance. Next come field review. Under this method, the performance is evaluated not by the immediate supervisor, but an expert is appointed who can make the appraisal of the performance. The appraisal is done by generally from the person who is appointed from the HR department. He make a record of the performance. Next come confidential reports. It is a traditional method mostly follow up in the government and non-government organizations, wherein persons are evaluated for the performance appraisal. They evaluate the performance on the basis of their observation. They make a record from time to time, and this record is completely confidential, and it should be handed over to the senior authorities, and they will finally declare the performance of any employees. Next come the modern methods. In modern method, the very first method is MBO, that is management by objective. It is the very latest method. Management by objective means where objectives are set by the superior and subordinates. Both work together for the achievement of these objectives, and both have a certain check on their performance. If they find that their performance is below the standards they are lacking, they try to remove out by the self-check methods. Next come BARS method. BARS stand for behavior anchored rating scale. It means in this method we have certain rating scales of behavior. Behavior is rated on the basis of these scales, and points are given on the basis of these behavior aspects. After that, the numbering is given to each and every aspect, and finally the countation of the number is done, and the score is given to each and every employee, and their performance is appraised on the basis of such scoring. Next come 360-degree appraisal. 360-degree appraisal means an individual employee's performance is appraised on the basis of each and every angle. His performance is appraised by the person who are his immediate contact. It means his performance is appraised by the subordinates, his performance is appraised by the superior, his performance is appraised by the peer groups, his performance is appraised by the near person who have a close contact with the employees. So in each and every angle his performance is appraised. Next come human resource accounting methods. In human resource accounting method, the individual employee's performance is assessed in the form of what he has done for the organization, means the cost and the benefit. It is based on the cost and benefit analysis, means how much cost is for the hiring of an employee and what output, what benefit he is giving in return of that cost. Such kind of comparison is made and his performance is evaluated and assessed. All these methods are used for the assessment of performance, but we can conclude that no single method is sufficient enough to measure the performance of an individual employee. When we want the true evaluation, when we want the true measurement of the performance, we can use mixed of these methods. We can go for more than one or two methods. Thank you.